Hey friends, and welcome back to Old Mill Homestead. So I just got the kids fed, or they're in the process of eating, so you may hear some noises. All of our fur babies are at least 7 up to probably 15, 16 years old, so there's a lot of noises going around. We are gonna do today, we're gonna do the Marry Me Chicken recipe, which I'm sure all of you have done before. I have never done it before. We're also gonna do a homemade macaroni salad, and I can link that recipe. And then we're also gonna make some homemade rolls and then some green beans for dinner tonight. But I need to get started on the macaroni salad because you need to let it sit in the refrigerator once it's done for about 4-ish hours. So I've got, let me show you. I've got my water boiling over here. I've got my water boiling on the stove. As soon as that gets ready, we'll add our macaroni, and then we will go from there, and I'll show you what that looks like. So while I'm waiting on our water to boil for our noodles, I'm gonna go ahead and get my carrots out and get those washed and sliced up. So it just calls for 3 carrots, and I already washed these a little bit earlier, and then I kind of forgot, so I'm just gonna give them just another quick rinse, because like I said, I did already wash them a little bit earlier, and then I forgot about them. So, let's get those sliced up. Like I said, our water is still boiling back there, so that looks good. And then I'm gonna put those aside. I'll probably save these little ends for scraps for chicken stock or vegetable stock or whatever. Probably chicken, because I have a leftover chicken in the freezer that I've just been waiting to do, so I'll probably put that away for that. So our water is boiling. I picked up some, it's a pound of pasta noodles, organic pasta noodles. We're just gonna add that to the water and cook it per the instructions, and then we'll be back as soon as this gets done. And I just finished cutting up my carrots. So while our noodles are boiling, we're gonna add 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. So while our noodles are boiling, we're gonna add 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar to a bowl. And then we're gonna add our onions and carrot mixture. I don't know what happened. Apparently I didn't hit record when I was slicing the onion, but if you've seen me before, you know I'm not a good slicer. So you didn't miss anything important. Just slice, it's half an onion that you'll slice and put into your mixture. So that is what it looks like. So we're gonna take this, which is just the carrots, the onions, and the apple cider vinegar, and we're gonna put it in the refrigerator until our noodles are cooked and cooked and cold. Cooked and cold. Until they're cool. So I actually misread the directions. So you add your pasta in while it's hot to your carrot, onion, and apple cider vinegar mixture, and then you put all of it in the refrigerator until it's cooled down. Then we'll come back and add our remaining ingredients. So I'm just gonna kind of toss that in. If you guys have any recommendations for good homemade wooden spoons, not necessarily Amazon, but a local company that makes them, I would appreciate it. The only really spoons I have are these plastic ones, and not being a cook, I mean, I've never really used any of them much, but I would love to have a wooden spoon, a few wooden spoons, so that I can donate these, just to be on the safe side for health reasons. I'm not going to throw them away because I'm not going to be wasteful, but if I can donate them or give them to someone else who would enjoy them, who I mean, they're basically brand new. I haven't used them much, but if you have any recommendations, if you will post that in the comments, I would greatly appreciate it. So we're gonna get this mixture in the refrigerator until it's cooled, and then we'll come back and add the remaining ingredients. Okay, so this is cool. Let's show you kind of what it looks like. This is cool. So to this, we are gonna add 2.5 cups of mayonnaise. This is probably not quite 2.5 cups, but that's all the mayonnaise that I had left. We don't use mayonnaise a lot in the house. We bought it for this recipe and another recipe. So we're just gonna use what we have left. I think we have close to the amount that we need. But like I said, we are not big mayonnaise people. I don't like it at all, really. Nick likes it occasionally on some of the things that he eats. Let me kind of use my dominant hand here and get this out of the container. Get as much of it out as I can. That's gonna do. And then we need to put 2 teaspoons of sugar, and I think I have just enough left. These are half, so we'll do 4 of sugar. And then it calls for 1/4 a cup of milk. And then salt and pepper to taste. So I'm just gonna kind of sprinkle a good amount of pepper. I do like pepper. And then we have some salt in our container. Sprinkle that, and then we're gonna mix this all together. And we're gonna put it back in the refrigerator and let it just kind of marry all these flavors together for about 4 hours, which should work because that's about the time that I'll be doing supper. And I have never had this before. Actually, none of this meal that I'm cooking have I ever attempted to make before. Not the rolls from scratch, not this macaroni salad, which I'll link the recipe below. It's from Scratch Pantry, Becky with Acre Homestead. It's from Scratch Pantry, and I watched her make this a while ago. She was in her old house when she made it, I'm pretty sure, and it looked delicious. And so I thought, that looks pretty good, I can make that, and then make some of the chicken and throw some green beans. And then the rolls are also her recipe. So like I said, I'll have all the recipes linked below. So that is what it looks like after. We're gonna throw this in the fridge, let it sit for 4 hours. We'll come back in about 3 hours, but just a second for you guys, and we'll get started on the chicken and the rolls. So we're just gonna cover this with some plastic wrap and put it in the freezer. I wanted to add that little portion in because, just to be 100% honest, you guys know that I'm not a cook, that I'm learning, and I'm really enjoying the process. But I don't know that I would have thought to cover it had I not read it on the paper. So you guys probably already knew that, but someone who doesn't come from a cooking background, I might have thought to cover it, but I might not have. So we're just gonna cover it with some plastic wrap and let all that marinate, and then we'll be back in 3 hours. So we have our milk and water. So it's 1 cup milk and half a cup of water, I believe. And it needs to be about 110, which this is. So to this, we are gonna add our melted butter. And then it calls for 1 tablespoon of active yeast. So we're gonna add that. And then it calls for 2 tablespoons of honey. So I've got my honey. I'm just gonna reuse this, but I just wanna make sure all the active yeast is off of it. So there's 1. And this is it's a quick roll, easy recipe. And that's what I'm looking for, because I don't feel like taking the time to do anything else today. So we're gonna stir this together. Now this is our yeast, our butter, our honey, our milk, and our water mixture, and we're just gonna stir this together, and then we're gonna let it sit for 10 minutes or until it becomes, whoops, very bubbly. So let me actually try stirring it with something a little bit better than that spoon. Get a fork in here and get it broken up a little better and stirred together a little better. And like I said, this is gonna sit for about 10 minutes until it becomes bubbly. I've also got the oven preheated to 400 degrees, and I have a dish. It's a little bit smaller of a dish, but that's the only one that I have clean. I made some baked oatmeal last night and did not wash the pan. But I still think it'll turn out. That looks pretty good and incorporated. We're just gonna let that sit for 10 minutes, and I'm going to go ahead and look to see what else we need to do. So to our mixer, we are going to add some flour while we're waiting on the mixture to start getting bubbly. So it's 3.5 cups of flour with the salt. So I'm gonna go ahead and measure out my flour. This is a 1/2 cup measure, and it fits very nicely in my container. This is some of the flour that I got from Azure Standard, and I've used it a few times and really love it. I will also update you on the oats. Love the oats. The oats are absolutely amazing. And then I lost count how much I was doing here. I think that's what it called for. I had to go back and look, and I actually had to take some out of there. So we need a teaspoon of salt. So this is 1/4 for this mixture, and we're just gonna let this whisk together just to get the ingredients combined. And then when our mixture is ready, which it's starting to bubble, it looks pretty good, then we will put it in here and get all of that mixed together. So we're just gonna let that salt and flour mix for just a minute. I'll show you the I'm not sure if you can see it all that well, but it is bubbling and mixing together, but that does still have a couple more minutes to go. So I'm just gonna let that go low until that gets mixed together, and then we'll add our other ingredients in. Okay, so here is our dough. It's nice and bubbly. I don't know if you can see it bubbling, but it is bubbling. I have this ready for when we bring it out. So we're gonna go ahead and add it to the mixer. Let me get you back up where you can see that process. Okay, so we're just gonna add this into our wet or our dry ingredients. And then we're gonna let this go for about 4 to 5 minutes. Okay, so it is all done. Our dough is finished. So I'm gonna take it off. We're gonna take this out and place it into a greased bowl, which I have right here next to it. Let me bring you with me. And we're supposed to try to kind of shape it into a ball, which I mean, it kind of already is in a ball shape. I don't know what you guys think, but that looks like a ball to me. And we're gonna leave this alone and let it rise for 15 minutes, and then we'll be back to finish working on it. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and start on our chicken. So it says to heat a skillet, a cast iron skillet, and put a little olive oil in the bottom. We're going to get our chicken seared on both sides and just season it with a little salt and pepper for now. So we're gonna let that warm up and get the seasoning ready. I'm gonna put just another splash of right on the corner of olive oil on that skillet to get it ready. I've got my chicken ready. We have some chicken breast over here, and like I said, we're just gonna use salt and pepper, and we're gonna sear it on each side for about 3 to 4 minutes, and then we're gonna take the chicken off and start the next process. Okay, I think we're ready to add our chicken. So I'm just gonna add that and then wash my hands. We need to add our salt and our pepper. We're just going to let this go for about 3 to 4 minutes on each side. And then once this cooks for 3 minutes, we're gonna flip it to the other side and let it cook for 3 minutes. And then we're gonna pull it off. I have a plate over here to put it on. Then we're gonna get some garlic cloves and get those in the pot. And then we're gonna add some more things, bring the chicken back, get it all coated, and then we'll put it in the oven. And then we'll go back to our rolls. Okay, it's been about 4 minutes. So we're gonna go ahead and turn the chicken over. And then I need to salt and pepper this side as well. Lost my pepper there for a second. if you can see all this splatter from the oil. So we're gonna let that sit for another 4 minutes, and then we'll move on to sauteing our onions. Okay, so our chicken has sauteed on both sides for 4 minutes on each side. So I'm gonna take that off and just sit it in this plate. And then I'm going to add some garlic. I just bought this garlic press, so I've never used it before. So we'll see how that goes. I don't know that it calls for you to mince the garlic, but I did. So we're just gonna let that go for just a second because it's awfully small. Okay, so we're gonna stir in our chicken broth. So I need 3/4 a cup of chicken broth. And we need 1/2 a cup of heavy cream that we're gonna add to that. And then we're just gonna take what we have and just kind of get up all of those little bits in the bottom of the pan and just kind of stir that around to make our cream. And then we're gonna add some sun-dried tomatoes. We're gonna add our sun-dried tomatoes in there. Some red pepper flakes. We're gonna add that. And also some oregano. Probably enough. And we're gonna add some oregano. It also calls for grated Parmesan cheese. I have some Parmesan cheese that I could grate, but to be really honest, my hands are hurting too bad and I don't want to mess with that. So we might add some after the fact. Or I'll tell you what we could do, even though this probably won't make it as good. I do have my last little bit of pre-shredded Parmesan cheese. So I'm just gonna add just a little bit for flavoring. We've had this, so I'm not gonna throw it out, even though I know the shredding it yourself is better, but I already had this, so I'm not going to just throw it away. That's being wasteful, so I'm gonna use up what I have. And then I'm also gonna add just a couple more of the red peppers because I just had a few left in the jar, so just a few more. This is a learning process for me, right? So I've never done this before, so it's learning and probably it's not perfect, but hopefully it'll still be delicious. So we're just gonna stir this around for just a little bit. Try to get a few of those pieces kind of caught up in there. I did turn the heat down. It got some of the oil in there from the tomatoes, so the sun-dried tomatoes, so hopefully that doesn't affect the cooking on it. And then we are going to add back our chicken. to our pot. And we're just gonna kind of flip it a couple times just to get it nice and coated in all of those yummy ingredients in there. And then we are gonna put this in the oven on 400 degrees, which my oven has been heating the whole time we've been cooking to 400. And we're gonna bake it for about 15 to 20 minutes. So let me back you up just a little bit. Here's Mr. Colt. So this is ready. We're gonna pop it in the oven for 15 to 20 minutes. And unfortunately, my hands aren't going to allow me to pick that up. So we're gonna pick it up two-handed. Put it in there and pull my little holder off. We'll set a timer for 15 to 20 minutes and we're gonna go work on our rolls. So we are back with our dough. It's been actually about probably 12 minutes or so. It says to punch it down. Also, I did wash my hands again in between that. I'm real worried, not paranoid, but just, I guess, overly cautious on handling raw meat and then touching something else. So I typically wash my hands a lot when I'm cooking with meat, and it might be too much or overkill, but me being new and not really knowing a lot about what I'm doing, I would rather not send us out of the hospital. So we're just gonna punch this down, and then we're gonna divide this into 12 rolls in our greased pan. So we punched this down, and I did go ahead and wash that 9x13 just so I had it. Since this is the first time I've ever made it, I really want to try to do whatever I can not to mess it up. So we're going to punch this down and divide it into 12 rolls. I think what I'm going to do is pull this out of here and kind of just shape it, if you can see that, kind of just shape it out a little bit with my hands. It doesn't say to roll it out. I think I'm going to roll it out. Not a lot, but just a little bit. And then I'm going to get a nice sharp knife. This is probably too much, but that's what I had convenient. And I'm just gonna cut it down the middle. And then I'll cut it kind of down the middle again. So that gives us 8. That one's a little big, so I may cut that one. And this one got a little 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're gonna do that. We're gonna call it good. I'm not gonna be all that precise, and we're just gonna kind of, that looks a little small. Making it up as I go here. We're just gonna kind of shape it into somewhat of a ball. You know what? I don't think that's gonna work. So I'm gonna roll it down just a little more. I think that would make a good size ball. Just kind of making it into a ball size, and then I'm gonna put it in my greased pan. We'll make as many as I have cut and see how it goes. Hopefully it turns out. If it doesn't, I'm not gonna win everything I cook. It's still very much a learning process for me, and so there's gonna be things that I mess up on, and that's okay. That's how you learn. And like I said, I've never done any of these recipes that I made today. So literally every one of them is a learning process for me. I'm not sure if you can even see what I'm doing here. We don't have a huge amount of counter space, so it's kind of hard to get what we're doing in the shot. That might help some. I know that you can't really see all that great on what I'm doing over here, but actually, you know what? I don't think you can really see it all. So I'm gonna break this one in half. And like I said, I'm just trying to make a ball. It's supposed to make 12. I feel like I'm having a little trouble getting 12 balls out of this dough, so I probably just didn't cut it properly. So it's gonna be 9, 10, 11. Let me take a little off that one. Take just a smidge off of this one and kind of reform it. It was a pretty good sized ball. I want them to kind of be somewhat even so that they cook even. If you have any suggestions on how to make a ball, I mean, I'm doing the best I can, but I always enjoy learning, and I always enjoy people helping with experience and knowledge. It's always welcomed and wanted. So we did get 12. Some of them are a little bigger than others, but I think that that will be okay. So I'm gonna wait. The chicken, so I'm gonna wait just a little bit. The chicken is in the oven and it's got to bake for 20-ish minutes, and it's at 400, so then I'm gonna have to let the this has to sit anyway, so we'll get it all worked out here in just a few. But there are my 12 very uneven rolls, and I'm gonna put an egg wash on those as well, but these need to rise a little bit. Yeah. All right, so our timer just went off for our chicken, so we're gonna check it and see how it looks. That looks amazing. And our little rolls, I put a damp cloth over them, and they have been sitting for about 20 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead. I've got some green beans on the back there. I'm gonna go ahead and get this ready, pull out our macaroni salad, and then as soon as these get done baking, we should be ready to eat supper. So I'm gonna go ahead and put these in. And we'll be back when we're all done. Okay friends, I wanna show you what we made today. So let's swing you down and let you take a look. So we have our pasta, our macaroni. Hold on a second. There we go, I can see what I'm looking at. We have our macaroni salad, and my husband and I both did taste that, and it's really good. We have our chicken. Our Marry Me chicken is out of the oven. Our rolls are out. I did forget to put an egg wash on them, but to be honest, I just didn't care at this point. And then we have our green beans in the back. Thank you guys for hanging out with me today. I appreciate it. This is all a 100% organic meal, which makes me feel really good about feeding this to my family. And I'm going to introduce y'all to somebody who's very camera shy, but we're going to introduce you. This is my husband, Nick.
Hey, everybody.
And he just got home, so we are going to enjoy supper, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, friends.